Hey folks, Brian King here. I've been doing a lot of reflecting this morning because I shared a thought on a couple different Facebook groups. And in one in particular, it really opened up a can of worms. The thought was essentially that, and this is my experience because that's all anyone can ever speak from, is that when I say no problem to somebody, they say thank you for your help, no problem. They hear the word problem. They lock in on that. Not all people, some. They can lock in on that word and think, oh my goodness, I hope I didn't really inconvenience him. Or there might be a time where it might be a problem. I don't want to bother him, so I don't ask. Now tell me if you've ever felt like this before, because I know I have. I know other people have come back to me later and said, well, I didn't want to be a problem. I didn't want to inconvenience you. And that was the root of my suggestion. So what I basically said is, under the circumstances where someone might be discouraged from asking for help because they're concerned that it might be a problem, you can try alternative phrases like, you're welcome, or happy to help, or anytime, or no worries, come to me anytime you want. Things that are validating, things that come from a gracious place, so that they have the experience, or you send the message that there is only pleasure and gratitude involved in helping. Well, I put this on one of the groups, and there are many people that came back and said, I agree, that was a good point, thanks for putting it out there. And there were some people that really went off. They were offended that I suggested that their habit of saying no problem was somehow hurting people's feelings. And I said, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that in some cases it can be heard that way, and I'm pointing this out to maybe suggest something to think about, to reflect upon. Not that I'm looking to change the habits of every culture that says no worries or no problem or de nada or anything like that. I said that's not my point. My point is, in certain circumstances, no problem could be heard as, well, maybe there is a problem. So it's something to consider in addition to what you may already doing. Not to mention that in general, people are very habit-driven in how they socialize. We say words because it's what was modeled for us. We never question it. We have specific habits that we do because it's a habit. And a lot of habits over time can become pretty mindless. They're out of our immediate awareness. And a lack of awareness is very useful in some circumstances, but in others, it can really lead to disconnect. It can lead to misunderstandings because we're not being mindful of what we're saying. So again, it's just an opportunity to think about the language you use. Why do you say one thing as opposed to another? If you suddenly decided to use different language to express gratitude, what would happen? Try it out. Test it. That's all I'm saying. One person in general in this specific thread was getting increasingly defensive because he kept trying to convince me that his way was right. That saying no problem all the time is no big deal and it's okay and I should realize that. And I tried to explain to him, my point isn't that no problem is bad. Say it if you want to. I was simply offering an opportunity to reflect upon why we say it, what it could mean in certain circumstances, and that there are alternatives to no problem. There are also alternatives to saying good morning to somebody. But I'm not going to say stop saying it all the ways you say it. Say what you want. Say what works for you. But if you want to be much more mindful of it, to actually sit back and reflect upon it and say, are these the words I want to use? Do these words truly capture my intention? Is it being heard the way I want to be heard? If not, what are the alternatives? That's it. Food for thought. It's not about right or wrong. It's about teachability. Can you hear a new idea and actually take the time to consider it? Or are you always going to push back because it flies in the face of your existing paradigm? Food for thought, huh? Well, thanks for tuning in. If this has been helpful for you, let me know. Make a comment. If there's somebody else that could benefit from this, please share it. hopefully they'll thank you for it. Take care. We'll talk again soon.